Welcome to JasonWhiskyWise. My name is Jason. Welcome to this whiskey review where today we're going to be looking at the Yoichi single malt whiskey. So far we've looked at quite a few of the products from the Nikka portfolio, and if you have missed any of them, I'll leave them linked in the top corner. Go and check them out as we've covered Nikka from the barrel, the Nikka Coffey grain whiskey, the Nikka Coffey malt, and the Miyagikyo single malt whiskey. So from the Nikka portfolio, this is the actual first distillery. They founded in 1934 by Masataka Takesuru, the founder, and he went up to the Hokkaido region because the climate over there matched the same characteristics that he observed in Scotland. So this whiskey is going to be a little bit smoky, and that's because they use a coal fire for the distillation. Now this one also, I believe the warehouses are also very close to the sea, so you might also pick up a slight maritime character, but we'll find that as we dive into the tasting notes for this whiskey. So it is a no-age statement whiskey. It is bottled at 45%. And just a few days ago, I tried the 10-year-old, thanks to a very good friend of mine, as he had one of those lying around. But this at the minute is a no-age statement whiskey. So they used to have a 10 and 12, but because of demand and supply again, they're not able now to produce the age statements because it will effectively put a lot of pressure on them. So they produce no-age statement whiskies. Now the distillery itself is the Yoichi distillery. It looks really picturesque in the north of Japan. They're owned by the Nikka Whisky Distilling Company Limited. And that price on that bottle is currently at £75 here in the UK. Now you could actually pick this up for £60. You can find it sometimes on offer. So let me know, guys, which is actually this is going to be the question of the day. Which is your favorite from the Miyagikyo or the Yoichi out of the Nikka portfolio? I'm going to leave that down below in the comments. So £75 for this bottle. It's kind of gone up in price, and you're seeing that a lot with no-age statement whiskies from Japan. Is it exclusive? No, it's not, as it's one of their staples from the Yoichi distillery. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the nosing this whiskey. Into the nose. Starting things out on the nose for the Yoichi single malt whiskey, this thing straight away has a nice phenolic-y smoke to it. It's almost like you've had a fire pit. You've left it burning with a bit of these almost like burning grassy characters. A little bit of ashes coming off the end. And it's almost like a damp fire actually now as it develops. It's changed ever so slightly. There is a little bit of a citrus character really coming through, and for me this is like freshly cut lemons. Maybe actually lemongrass, because you're getting that grassy character, that smoky, maybe smoky lemongrass, as if you burnt the tips of lemongrass. But there is a faint, almost gingery spice adding a little bit of more character to the nose. And I'm getting a little bit of that island, almost that maritime character. And actually reminds me of my recent trip to Islay and to Campbelltown. When I was standing right on the port in Campbelltown, and you get that little bit of the water that's hitting the side, and you can just smell that saltiness in the air. It just reminds me of that little bit of a sea breeze on the end of this one. But that's about it for the nose. Let's jump straight into the palate next. Slanger. So starting things out now on the palate. For the Yoichi single malt whiskey, you are getting a youthful character about this whiskey straight off the back. I am finding that I can tell there's a little bit of sharp characters, even though it's had a lot of time to oxidize. This whiskey does, though, give you a medium, maybe medium full texture as it develops ever so slightly on the palate. You then get this sort of faint citrusy character, and then it's followed up by that maritime saltiness. A little bit of peat that then just suddenly amps itself up as you're holding it on the palate, which is kind of crazy. I've never had that, from light on peat on the nose, then into a little bit more stronger on the palate. But then you get into almost a sour character profile. You're getting fruitier characters. You're getting sour apple, poached pears. Again, that citrus comes through, and to me now it's more like a lime and a little bit of lemon. And then you get a little bit of a white pepper, adding a different bit of spice to it. Not that candied ginger that I was actually hoping for, but now a little bit of peppery spice, really activating the taste buds as it goes all over the palate. There is even a little bit of a floral character, but it's very, very mellow in this whiskey. You do get a lot more of those sour sort of flavor profiles and that maritime, and it's just got so much going on the palate, which is actually kind of really fun to see. Now there is also a little bit of a fruity profile, which to me reminds me of a stewed fruit. And I did mention pear and apple, but there's just something lingering in the back of this one, which is just very difficult to pinpoint in one go. But I'm going to see if I can find that on the finish next. So, into the finish. There it is. So, now into the finish of this whiskey. I'm getting that candied ginger character, but I found the note I was looking for. You get those sour green apples with the skins. You're getting now green grapes. And it's almost like you've had a combination of these green grapes, green pears, green apples, all these sort of freshing characters, but you stew them and they've got a little bit of a sour character linked together. You've got a bit of sultanas, adding a little bit more of a sweeter, drier character. And there's no sign of dried oak or anything on this whiskey. It's just juicy. And that little bit of candied ginger heats everything up a little bit more. And almost makes you feel like going back for a round two. So, that was actually really, really fun to see how the Yoichi developed more on the palate and on the finish versus how the actual nose started out fairly light. So in terms of my rating for this whiskey, I'm giving this one here a 90, because when I compare this one, I am comparing it to the Miyagikyo. And for me, this one offers a lot more than the Miyagikyo did. It's got that maritime character. It's got the little bit of peat, which then activates itself and amplifies itself on the palate. You get a combination of juicy fruits. And overall, this one's just got a lot more depth for me personally. I like that little bit more depth character in my whiskey. Especially when you're looking at £75 currently here in the UK. That is a rather pricey point. Doesn't need water, doesn't need time. Again, water, I would probably not add that to this whiskey. I just feel these Japanese whiskies from Nikka don't really respond very well to a lot of water or even to a few bits of water. Maybe you can add a drop, but you will see a bit of volatility in the whiskey almost fighting back in that chemical reaction it has when you add water to it. Does it need time? Yes. Give this one a little bit of time and you will start to see this one develop even further in your glass. As you're sitting there for a period of time, it's actually one of the really good things about it. But for me, I really love the island character, that little bit of smoke, but a lot more of those fruity characters, really just wrapping together lots of flavors and giving it depth and complexity. So 90 out of 100 is my score. Let me know what you guys think is your favorite out of the Miyagikyo and the Yoichi, as I mentioned earlier in the comments. And if you have enjoyed the video, by all means, feel free to drop it a thumbs up. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new for more whiskey content. And this has been me, JasonWhiskyWise. I'll leave some other videos on screen. And I'll catch you for the next video. Slanja.